Hey, this is Crickette, and welcome to another segment of the Chatterbox with Crickette. We are at the home of the lovely Amara Charles. She is going to talk to us about the art of Quodoushka. I know I'm interested. Corey back there is interested too. So let's go. It's time for episode 11 of the Chatterbox with Crickette.
Hey, hello.
Hey, Laura.
Good to see you.
Oh,
come on
wow.
in.
Look
Come
at
on
your
in.
home. I love it.
Oh.
Ooh, I love this vibe. Oh, this elephant mask. I feel like everything in here has a spiritual meaning, yes?
It's Ganesh, and the Ganesh is said to ward off obstacles.
Obstacles.
And so anytime we have obstacles, we put it in the entrance because we want to welcome our guests and leave their obstacles outside so they can come in.
I love your home. And you know, I felt that as soon as I walked through the door too. It has this vibe to it. So is this like, this is a perfect spot for yoga. Do you do yoga in this room?
Well, actually, we do Qigong, and we do feminine restoration practices. And every day we do devotional chants and meditation and that sort of thing.
Wow.
And that's really a big part of our practice.
Wow. Okay, so when you talk about your practice, you are a sex expert here in the Valley. And how long have you been a sex expert?
Well,
And is that, am I using the right term? Is that the correct term?
well, I'm an author and I'm a coach and I'm a mentor. I've been teaching for 25 years around the world, really. And I do live here in the Valley. And I host some local things here. Mostly I'm traveling, however, all over the place. Yeah.
So what would your official title be?
Well, I am an author, a sex expert, and a teacher of spiritual sexuality.
How long have you been teaching? So when you started teaching 25 years ago, was it specifically spiritual sexuality, or did you start off teaching something else and then move into that?
Actually, that's a great question. At first, I was an artist, and then I began sculpting people, let's say. And I've always been a writer, so I began teaching more spiritual things, vision quests, purification lodges, and then I realized that the core of a lot of people's suffering and challenges and problems was really at the center of their being, and that includes the sexual part of their being. So I began to see that if I could affect and shift and really uplift and educate about our sexuality, I could help facilitate a change in everything in their life. So I just went straight to the core.
The core, and that isn't that what the basis of? Let me make sure I get this right. Quodoushka. Isn't that what the basis of Quodoushka is all about? Like centering sexuality, sensuality?
It's about really educating ourselves, or what is it for, and what are the positive things about our sexuality, and how do we heal some of the woundings? How do we get through some of the confusion and come together on a much higher level?
I remember when I had the talk, it wasn't really a talk. My parents just gave me a book and just said, okay, here you go, figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, is that the best way to learn, is to read a book? Or
well, at least you had something.
At least I had some guidance.
In my family, sex was so natural, we never talked about it. And so at least, you had something, and there was something where they gave you a book. And nowadays, people tell me that they're giving young people, 16, 15, 21, whatever, they're giving my book to help them educate themselves about sexuality on a much higher level. I mean, not a plumbing lesson.
Right, not a plumbing.
Yeah.
Even though I think that's a good quality to have in a man, is someone that knows how to do some plumbing. And I don't mean these pipes, I mean some actual plumbing. Fix some stuff.
Yeah.
So how do your workshops go? Your Quodoushka workshops in particular.
Okay, the Quodoushka
Do you start off
workshops.
like in a room like this and you do some yoga?
Well, actually, we start off in a big room, and there's usually quite a number of people. And we start off with a ceremony where we get to know each other, and we ask certain questions about why are you here? where are your highlights? What are the best things for you in your sexual life? What's really working? And then we get into, hey, what's not working? So that we get to know each other a little bit. We create a very safe container in the beginning so that people feel safe and comfortable to talk about some of these really fragile and delicate issues.
How do you get past that though? Like, okay, in all seriousness, I am an introverted extrovert. So I'm like an advanced extrovert or something weird. Like I do a lot of weird reading. And it's kind of hard for me to talk about those types of things in an open setting, believe it or not. Believe it or not, right?
Yes,
But
yes.
how do you get past that do you need to get past that before you get to the seminar, or do you help them break through just that initial barrier at the seminar?
Well, everybody's in the same boat. Everybody has that place where, hey, is it safe here? And our number one agreement is to create and agree on complete confidentiality. So what is spoken in the room stays in the room. And I've been doing this for 25 years. And what happens in that room, we make an agreement, a covenant that what happens here stays there.
So it's like Vegas.
And that's, yeah.
What
yeah.
happens here stays
yeah.
here.
And
Okay, so I got to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Quodoushka workshops are like Vegas.
Right.
Like Vegas. Okay.
So you create this beautiful cocoon of awareness where people feel more and more comfortable to express themselves. And we take everything very gradually, mind you. You know, we begin by talking with one another, and we really take the time to create agreements so that what is happening is by your choice. And that's a big part of Quodoushka, okay? So we do have exercises, experiences where you will partner with somebody and do hands-on exercises, breathing exercises, what we call healing exercises. And so you'll see every exercise demonstrated first. You'll say, okay, this is what it looks like. And then you get together with a partner, and then you get to agree, okay, this is how I want to do this. This is what works for me. And this is what doesn't work for me. So you do that every time before you do an exercise. So it's really a practice in communicating what you want.
Are any of these physical? Like, do you have to, I don't want to say touch each other as if they're engaging in sex, but is there any touch involved? Because that's a sensory.
Yes, there is. And that's why we take, great care to teach people, help people understand how to give in a caring and sensitive way. Because even though we might be hesitant or afraid of touching, that's what we really want, And everybody wants to feel these safe places where that's okay. Because if we went to a sex workshop and said, okay, well, we're not going to touch and all we're going to do is talk, nobody would come.
It would be like my grandparents having sex.
Right,
Right.
Nobody would come.
Nobody would come.
So really the whole...
Oh, that's terrible, man.
Yeah, nobody would come. So yes, we create a gradual and safe way for people to do this. I've been doing it for 25 years. I get amazing comments. People say that it has changed not only their sex life, but their relationship with their families and their businesses, and they change careers, and yeah.
You're so lively. I think of you doing the seminar as Meet the Parents. When Barbara Streisand was doing her thing with her class, and she had her class going, and hers was, I think, geriatric sex. But, I kind of envision you with that type of energy, that Barbara Streisand curly hair energy. So we got a curly hair. But, so, what I noticed when we came in is that you have a lot of little different artifacts, like the elephant mask, and then, is that like an evil eye, or is that just a gong?
That's a drum.
Oh,
gong.
It's just
You're
gong.
right,
Okay.
It's a gong.
I thought it was like, everything to me has like a feng shui, spiritual type of energy, and I'm thinking, there's got to be a voodoo doll in here somewhere. So you've written a couple of books, yes, ma'am?
Yes. Which one do you want to see first? Doing my first book
I would like
or my...
to take a look at that one.
Okay, since we're talking of Quodoushka. Okay, this is called The Sexual Practices of Quodoushka. And this is a #1 bestseller, and we call it Q for short.
Oh, Q, okay.
This is what I go around the world teaching, and it originates in the Mesoamerican cultures, in the Mayan and Toltec culture. So they're very ancient teachings that were handed down teacher to student. It's an oral tradition.
That's a good way
Yeah.
to learn is orally.
Yeah.
For some people.
Right. And so this is really the first book that they have been presented to the public. And
Now, when did you write that?
About 3.5 years ago.
Oh.
And it's doing very well. I'm invited to Prague, the Czech Republic. It's translated into the Czech Republic. And and it's in Spanish as well.
What kind of responses are you getting from people that read this book? What are they saying?
Well, I think people's favorite part is the sexual anatomy type, where they get to find out, am I a wolf woman or a sheep woman or a buffalo woman, and then men, am I a horseman or am I a coyote man, and so on. So people really love that part because there's pictures and you can identify what type you are. And that tells you about what kind of a lover you are, and that tells you how you like pleasure and so forth.
Does that really, just knowing your type, really influence you that much?
Yes. Well, I can tell you why, okay? Because every type has a different structure physically. So all the erogenous zones are either very far apart, and so therefore it would take a woman a lot longer to reach orgasm because her anatomy, the erogenous zones, where they are physically, are all separate. So like when she's penetrated, for example, that she's not simultaneously stimulated in all the erogenous zones. Whereas some of the other types, they're all bunched all close together. So there's the G-spot, there's the opening, which is an erogenous zone, there's the clitoris, which is and they're all clustered very close together. So when she's penetrated with, a finger or even a tongue or whatever, she's simultaneously, all her erogenous zones are stimulated at once. So she can have an orgasm in about less than 2 minutes.
I'm jealous of that woman.
Yeah.
Is that the most common or is that the least common? Because
actually, no, it's not that common.
Oh, and yeah, I didn't think so. Most women complain.
Yeah, we don't know that we're different. And so, you see, because it's very healing going, wow, there's nothing wrong with me. It's just my anatomy. And the thing is that once you learn your anatomy, then there's lots of things you can do to shift and work with that and grow. And the men are different types too. Okay, and so everybody always asks me, so they said, they ask, is there one type better for one type of woman? Do they have to match? No, all the types can, work with each other.
So there's room to play around with that.
Oh, big time. But if you know a little bit more, it's the same thing for the men. Okay, what kind of things does a man like? Different anatomy types. He has a different nature, okay? And they're called animals because the bear man is very physical, and he likes to hug and cuddle, and when he makes love, he's very physical.
And he grunts.
Yeah. So that's just one type of a man, and so you would treat him very differently than a horseman. That's very, can be very stubborn and likes a lot of freedom and
slobs a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can whisper in his ear.
Oh, you can be the horse whisperer.
Yeah.
I need a horseman just so I can go around and say I'm a horse whisperer.
Yeah.
That would be funny.
Well, I wish you well.
Anyway. You wish me well with the horse.
Yes, I wish you well.
What's the best type of man?
Oh, I love them all.
You do?
Yeah, my claim to flame is
claim to flame. Your claim to flame.
My claim to flame.
T-shirt number 3.
Yes. I have, I wrote the book because I've had personal experience around the wheel. And so I wrote a lot of it from personal experience of the difference.
I didn't know that.
Difference in how these different types are.
I have a very serious question for you,
Okay.
though. Well, serious for me. I just had a birthday the other day. And so as I approach old age, I want to know, does the sex get any better, or, is it over at like 50? Or, how far can we go having great sex before we start, breaking our hips or something? How far can I take it?
Well,
do I have another 40 years of great sex? Let's change
that myth right away, okay?
Uh-huh.
Because sex can and absolutely does get better with age if you really educate yourself on how to move through the changes, right? So that's a lot about what I do is help educate people.
Or educate.
Become, sexually educated with their erotic intelligence, so they have an educated pussy.
Oh, an educated pussy.
Yeah.
They can get a diploma?
Yeah, they get
So she either has it up here or she has it down here, but something has a diploma hanging out of it somewhere.
We got to have both.
You got to have both?
Especially to answer your question, about having fabulous sex as we age. We really have to learn a lot of things about asking for what we want, because it changes, right? And so no fear, it's of course I get to ask and guide my lover in exactly how deep and how I like to be touched and when I want to make love.
So you become a cougar.
Yeah.
So you get more animalistic with your kitty.
Yeah.
Like she's an angry kitty or an educated kitty.
Yeah.
Or a hungry kitty.
Yeah.
She's hungry.
Yeah.
So how do you educate a pussy?
Okay, well, I have a couple of things here.